method. Just give me a second. Come to page number 6.40. Problem number 40. Come to page number 6.40. Problem number 14. The following was the balance sheet of V Limited as on 31st March 2012. Not our company. The following was the balance sheet of V Limited as on 31st March 2012. See this balance sheet as per Schedule 3. You can see the format. Schedule 3 format. Equity and liabilities. Shareholder funds. Share capital. Reserves and surplus. Non-current liabilities. Long-term borrowings. Current liabilities and trade payables. Assets. Non-current assets. Tangible assets. Current assets. Inventories. Trade receivables. Cash and cash equivalents. Total. Share capital authorized, issued, subscribed and paid up capital 80 lakh equity shares of 10 rupees each, fully paid up 800 lakhs, 35 lakh 12% cumulative preference shares of 10 rupees each, fully paid up 350 lakhs, reserves and surplus, profit and loss account 87 negative balance, long term borrowings 10% secured cumulative debentures of 100 each, fully paid up 600, outstanding debenture interest 30. See, actually, outstanding debenture interest should not be shown as part of long-term borrowings. It is wrong. It should be as part of current liabilities only. Outstanding debenture interest 30. Tangible assets, land, building, plant and machinery, furniture, fixture and fittings. Total. See, outstanding debenture interest can be shown as part of non-current liability only if the interest is payable at the time of maturity. Are you able to understand? They are zero coupon bonds. We are going to pay the entire amount at the time of maturity. The liability is not due within 12 months from balance sheet date. Then you may show it as part of non-current, or else it has to be shown as part of current liabilities. Tangible assets, land, buildings, plant and machinery, furniture and fixture and fittings, cash and cash equivalent, balance at bank and cash in hand. On 1st April 2012, P Limited took over the entire business of V Limited. So P Limited is taking over the business of V Limited. V Limited's equity shareholders would receive 4 fully paid equity shares of P Limited of 10 rupees each, issued at a premium of 2.5 rupees each for every 5 shares held by them in V Limited. So what we are saying, if a shareholder, equity shareholder, if he is holding 5 equity shares in V, he is going to be allotted 4 equity shares in P, purchasing company. But when you are allotting the share, you are going to be allotted the share at a premium of 2 rupees 50 paisa. Preference shareholders of V Limited would get 35 lakhs, 13% cumulative preference shares of 10 rupees each, fully paid up in P Limited in lieu of their present holdings. So preference shareholders, their preference shares will be taken over and preference shares will be allotted. See, amalgamation in the nature of merger, very important point is equity shares, we have to pay PC only in equity shares. Preference shares, debentures, you have to be careful. When purchasing companies taking over preference share capital and debentures, and in return when they are allotting preference shares and debentures, you should see to it that the terms of the new preference issue or the terms of the debentures allotted are not different from the terms which were there earlier. Because if there are a lot of changes in the terms, then it will be considered as amalgamation in nature of purchase. Preference shareholders of V Limited would get 35 lakh 13% cumulative preference shares of 10 rupees each, fully paid up in V Limited in lieu of their present holding. Okay. Preference shareholders allotted preference shares except the dividend right has changed. That's it. All debentures of V Limited would be converted into equal number of 10.5% secured cumulative debentures of 100 each, fully paid up after the takeover of V Limited, which would also pay the outstanding debenture interest in cash. Debenture holders will be allotted debentures and outstanding interest will be paid by P Limited. Expenses of amalgamation would be borne by P Limited. Expenses came to rupees 2 lakh. P Limited discovered that its trade payables included 7 lakh due to V Limited. Intercompany liability. Also, P Limited's inventory included goods of the invoice price of rupees 5 lakh, earlier purchased from V Limited, which had charged profit at the rate of 20% on invoice price. So there is some unrealized profit in stock. You are required to prepare realization account in the books of V Limited, past journal entries in the books of P Limited, assuming it to be an amalgamation in nature of merger. Is it clear? So let us first of all calculate the purchase consideration. We will not prepare P Limited books. We will do only P Limited books. Write down calculation of PC. What will come under PC? Whatever payment you have done to equity shareholder and preference shareholder, that will be considered as part of PC. Write down calculation of purchase consideration. Particulars, calculation, rupees. Now can you do some calculations on the calculator? Press on button. There are how many equity shares in V Limited vendor company? Vendor means selling company. 80 lakh. For every 5 shares you are going to be allotted 4 shares, no? See that paragraph? V Limited equity shareholders would receive 4 fully paid up equity shares of P Limited of 10 rupees each, issued at a premium of 2.5 each for every 5 shares held by them in V Limited. So type on your calculator. 80 divided by 5 into 4. 64 lakh equity shares allotted at an issue price of 12.5. Write down. Write down in your notebook. How many equity shares have to be allotted? You write 64 lakh equity shares of face value 10 rupees each, allotted at a price of 12.5, because we are going to collect 2 rupees 50 paisa premium. 64 lakh equity shares of face value 10 rupees each, allotted at an issue price of 12.5. Allotted at an issue price of 12.5. Now multiply 64 into 12.5. Exactly 800 lakhs. 800 lakhs. See, in hands of the shareholder, number of shares might have reduced. Value has remained the same. Shareholder will not be concerned. Shareholder will not be concerned. Next, how many preference shares? That we have, I think, already begin with. Right, 35 lakh, 13% cumulative preference shares of 10 rupees each. 35 lakh, 13% cumulative preference shares of 10 rupees each, issued at par. Issued at par. $350 lakhs. All the numbers are in lakhs now. 350 lakhs. That's it, total. See, do you need to again calculate net assets in this problem? Do you need to calculate net assets in this problem? No. The payment to equity shareholder and preference shareholder is clearly given. You have to apply the payment method of calculation of purchase consideration. How much payment to equity shareholder, how much payment to preference shareholder. Total PC. Suppose problem is silent on how much has to be paid to equity shareholder. Then the other approach is calculate net assets, find out how much is paid to preference shareholder, remaining amount has to be paid to the equity shareholder only. Total, how much is the total amount? 1150 lakhs. Okay. Now write down entries in the books of purchasing company. Can we dare writing only one entry? No 3 entries. We'll write 1 entry only. See, logically what you have to think? Assets I have to bring. Liabilities I am going to bring. So you should not imagine as assets and liabilities. You can say in your mind, net assets have been taken over. I have taken over net assets. Real account coming in debit. Net assets. In return, what have I given? Shares. That has to be credited. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Entry should tally. If it is not tally, you have to do some adjustments in the reserves. Write down. Let's not do that. Write down entry number 1. When PC is made due. when PC is made due. When PC is made due. Write down land and building account debtor. Land and building account debtor. What happened? Sorry. My mind is in first one entry only. Write down. No, write down. Business purchase account debtor to liquidator of. Business purchase account debtor to liquidator of V Limited 1150. Liquidator of V Limited credit 1150. Business purchase account debtor to liquidator of V Limited. See, my mind said land and building because this entry according to me is a waste. Because I know I read the entry, but again I am going to cancel it. Continue. Incorporation of assets and liabilities. Before you do that, you do some calculations. Calculate. No. First of all, you have to do the calculation of how much has to be adjusted in reserves. Write down. PC paid 1150. PC paid 1150. Purchase consideration paid. What is heading you read? Calculation of adjustment to be done in reserve. Calculation of adjustment to be done in reserves. Santosh, you are feeling sleepy?
No, sir.
Write down. Calculation of adjustment to be done in reserves. PC paid 1150 less. Next line, less equity share capital in selling company 800, preference share capital in selling company 350. See, even if I don't say that you have to prepare a statement, your mind should always prepare statements for such calculations. Is it clear? You should not start writing paragraphs. PC paid 1150 less equity share capital in selling company 350, sorry 800, preference share capital in selling company 350. Balance 0. So no adjustment in reserve is required to be done. Write down entry now. Land and building account debtor 445. Book value. Plant and machinery account debtor 593. Furniture, fixture and fittings 114. Land and building account debtor 445. Plant and machinery 593. Furniture, fixture and fittings 114. Bank balance 69. Bank balance 69. Cash in hand 6. Be careful. P&L account debtor 87. P&L account debtor 87. Why? Debit? It's showing a debit balance. Entries, we never put numbers in brackets. Yes, forgotten basic rules of passing a journal entry. P&L account debtor 87. In journal entry, we don't use brackets without brackets. P&L account debtor 87. That's it. All debit items are over. I think we have some other assets also, no? Inventories account debtor 380. Inventories account debtor 380. See the balance sheet. Trade receivables account debtor 256. Inventories account debtor 380. Trade receivables 256. Next, 2. We have incurred all assets now. Incurred liabilities 2. 10% secured cumulative debentures 600. You simply write two 10% debentures. Two 10% debentures in V Limited. That is how you write. Two 10% debentures in V Limited. 600. Two outstanding debenture interest. 30. Two outstanding debenture interest 30. Two trade payables 170. Two trade payables 170. Two trade payables 170. Two business purchase 1150. Enter tally.
Yes, sir.
Check. Without checking, don't say yes, sir. Badal. Right, everyone? Did you enter tally? This entry should tally, very important. Okay. Next, discharge of PC. Discharge of PC. What is the entry I am going to write for discharge of PC? Liquidator of V Limited account debtor 1150. Liquidator of, somebody is absent today. Mayur and Monica also. Liquidator of V Limited account debtor 1150. 2. Be careful here. Liquidator of V Limited account debtor 1150. 2. Equity share capital. Show the calculation carefully there. 64 lakh shares into 10 rupees each only. 64 lakh shares in 10 rupees each. 640 lakhs. 2. Securities premium. 64 lakh shares into 2.5. 160. 2 securities premium. 64 lakh shares into 2.5. 160. 2 preference share capital. What was the percentage? 13%. 2 13% preference share capital. 2 13% preference share capital. How much? 350. Is the entry tallying? Okay. Next. Not over yet. P Limited agreed to pay the amalgamation expense also, no? Write down when amalgamation expenses were paid by P Limited. You have to discharge debenture holders also. When amalgamation expenses were paid by P Limited, how much? 2 lakhs. We will debit P&L account. It's already showing debit balance. Put more debit. P&L account, debtor to bank account, 2 lakhs. If it was amalgamation in the nature of purchase, either goodwill account or capital reserve account would have been debited. P&L account, debtor to bank, 2 lakh. Next. Discharge of debentures. Discharge of debentures of V Limited. Discharge of debentures of V Limited. Discharge of debentures of V Limited. See that paragraph? All the debentures of V Limited would be converted into equal number of 10.5% secured cumulative debentures of 100 each, fully paid up after takeover by P Limited, which would also pay outstanding debenture interest in cash. We'll pass 2 entries. Write down. Debentures in V Limited account debtor to 10.5% debentures in P Limited account. Debentures in V Limited account debtor, V vendor debentures in B Limited account debtor to 10.5% debentures in B Limited account credit. Same face value. How much? 600. 600. Okay. Next. When interest is paid in cash. When interest is paid in cash. Outstanding interest account debtor to bank account 30. If you see second entry, you can see that we have taken over outstanding interest liability, which we are now discharging. Outstanding interest account debtor to bank account 30 lakhs. Outstanding interest account debtor to bank account 30 lakhs. Did you all complete, everyone? Next. Now, write down elimination of intercompany liabilities. See that second last paragraph. B Limited discovered that its trade payables included 7 lakhs due to V Limited for goods purchased. B Limited discovered that its trade payables included 7 lakhs due to V Limited for goods purchased. Purchasing company saying, I have opened my trade payables account, and when I open trade payables account, I can see B Limited as creditor for how much? For an amount of 7 lakh. So B Limited is saying, when I have analyzed my trade payables, I found that V Limited was appearing as a creditor in my books for 7 lakhs. That means B Limited will show P Limited as a debtor. He will show it as receivables in his books. Now those receivables are jumping into the same books now, no? So we have receivables, payables. Cancel. Cancel. Trade payables account, debtor to trade, receivables account. 7 lakhs. They all complete. Next. Right on next. Elimination of unrealized profits in stock. As I told you, please remember this point. This will be there with you for your lifetime. Unrealized profit on stock. Definitely there will be group company transactions. Group company transactions will not take place at cost price. They will take place at cost plus markup. And when you prepare consolidated balance sheets or amalgamation problems, definitely you have to eliminate stock reserves. See, you can have a situation like this also. There is a big holding company and they have a subsidiary company. Holding company supplies goods to subsidiary company. Holding company will recognize profits. Subsidiary company will recognize it as a cost. At the end of the year, holding company, as per the Companies Act, is now required to present we can say consolidated balance sheet, where all the assets and liabilities of subsidiary company will be clubbed or will be shown in the books of the holding company. That means stock in the subsidiary company will be shown as stock in the books of holding company. Who actually supplied that stock? Holding company. Now he is showing it as stock again in his books. Holding company. Holding company has already recognized some profits. Stock profits appear in the same balance sheet, which have to be eliminated. This concept will be there even in final level. It was there even in your CPT level. Consignment accounting. Goods sent at invoice price. In closing stock you have some loading gas which has to be removed. Stock reserve. Right on. Also P Limited's inventory. P Limited's inventory. That means what? Purchasing company. Included goods of the invoice value 5 lakh earlier purchased from V Limited. So selling company supplied goods to purchasing company. So when purchasing company is, we can say, analyzing the stock, it finds that 5 lakh worth of stock came from V Limited. So stock is shown in the books of purchasing company. Profits were recognized in the books of selling company. Is it clear? But the problem is, those profits have now come into my books. Stock has not come. Stock is already there with me. The profit which were there in the books of selling company is now becoming my profits now. So where have I recognized profits? Boss, you have recognized the P&L account balance, no? So whatever profits were shown in his books, you have included in your books. Stock profits again. So what should you do? Sir, but there is no profit in this problem, there is a loss, no? That loss is after, we can say, considering those profits. So loss was so much that it has eaten away all profits and still there is a debit balance left. It is net profit, net of all transactions. Is it clear? Stock is there with P Limited. Stock was sold by V. Profit recognized by V. Stock is there with P. Now profits of V Limited have become profits of P Limited. Now profits and stock. So what should I do now? I have to remove stock, remove profit. Write down entry. P&L account at R2, stock account. Suppose subsidiary company sells goods to holding company, we call it as an upstream transaction. In consolidated balance sheet language, we call it as an upstream transaction. When holding company is supplying goods to subsidiary company, we call it as downstream. And when subsidiary company is supplying goods to a holding company, it is called as upstream. So it's like an upstream transaction. So what is it till right? P&L account at R2, stock reserve. Or you can write stock account. Profit and loss account at R2, stock account. How much? See, for P Limited, stock is purchases. For V Limited, it was sales. What was the profit earned by V Limited on this transaction? 20% on sale price. And in the books of P, we are showing the stock at for P Limited, purchase price is equal to sale price of V Limited. Sale price of V becomes purchase price of P. How much profit did V earn?
20%.
Did V earn? It earned a profit of 20% on sale price. Purchase price of P is nothing but sale price of V. 20% on 5 lakh, it is how much? 1 lakh. Write on entry. Profit and loss account return to stock account 1 lakh rupees. That's it. So these are the entries we have to pass in the books of the purchasing company. Let us see problem number 13.